A slumping economy couldn't come at a worse time for the Harper government, heading into an election expecting neither a recession nor a deficit, and yet we may get both. And still, for the moment, that's the least of Stephen Harper's worries. His re-election plans have been sideswiped by a trial that is raising questions every day about what his closest advisors knew of a secret payment to Mike Duffy. And today, the former lawyer for the Prime Minister's office testified he believes Harper himself knew about it. Vashi Kapellos reports.
Have a great weekend.
Mike Duffy left court Friday, his spirits up after 2 days of testimony from Benjamin Perrin.
See you on Monday morning.
Perrin worked for the Prime Minister's office while the Duffy saga unfolded. He testified he believes Stephen Harper knew about and approved a secret plan to help Senator Duffy repay expenses. The Prime Minister insists he never knew about it, even though in an email his then Chief of Staff Nigel Wright said Harper was good to go on the plan. Perrin says he was blindsided, testifying Wright was explicit that the Prime Minister approved of proposed responses. Nigel Wright was explicit that the Prime Minister approved the proposed response, Duffy's lawyer prodded. Perrin replying, "This is how I interpreted that."
And what did you mean by Nigel Wright explicitly told you that the Prime Minister was approving of?
Earlier this week, Perrin testified Harper's current Chief of Staff, Ray Novak, also knew of the plan, contradicting the Conservative Party's claims.
It's unfathomable that Ray would be aware of a payment from Nigel to Mr. Duffy and not tell the Prime Minister.
Take all the testimony and contradictions together, it adds up to a rough few weeks for the Prime Minister during this election campaign. Day in and day out, dogged by questions about a cover-up. The Prime Minister insists there was no cover-up and anyone responsible has been held accountable.
In February, I told Mr. Duffy and Mr. Wright that I thought Mr. Duffy should repay his dubious expense claims. I was told in February that that's exactly what Mr. Duffy was going to do. I was told that he had done that, and it was not until May the 15th that Mr. Wright or anyone else ever told me anything to the contrary. And as soon as I learned it was to the contrary, I took action to hold Mr. Duffy and Mr. Wright responsible for their actions.
But a new poll indicates not everyone is convinced. It shows 3 in 5 Canadians say they don't believe Harper's version of events.
And who have you been talking to?
And it could get worse before it gets better. At least one other former staffer from the Prime Minister's office is expected to be called to the stand Monday. Another full week of the trial ahead. Vashi Kapellos, Global News, Ottawa.